what's happening? I posted this glitchy VHS effect on Reddit the other day, and a lot of people expressed interest in me making a tutorial on how I did it. This is like my third time recording this. It's midnight and I have work in 5 hours. So this is going to be less of a tutorial at this point and more of kind of a general jumping off spot. Think of it kind of like Ian Hubert's videos, but somehow less informative and less entertaining. So if we come into Blender, let's go ahead and start a new file. Let's save it. I don't care, whatever. Let's go into the compositing tabs, click use nodes, go ahead and delete the render layer, and while we're at it, let's delete that default cube. We don't need to, but fuck the default cube. Let's come over to the output properties panel, and if we want to go for true VHS, we'll do 640 by 480 resolution, but I like it like a nice box of Reese's Puffs cereal, nice crispity, crunchy, and peanut buttery, so I'm going to give it twice as much resolution. Additionally, if we want to go true to form with VHS, we would do 29.97 frames per second, but that is bullshit and hard to work with, and I hate it, so we're going to go for an even 30. Plus, my camera records at 30, so it just makes it easier. All right, we're going to take our footage, not in here. We're going to, where's some good footage? I was unprepared. Do you like how neat and clean and tidy my file structure is? So we're going to go ahead and take our footage and plug it right in there. And wow, yeah, looks great. But before we go any further, whenever I like to make VHS effects, or excuse me, just effects in general, I'm kind of bad at just making them off the fly. So I like to get a lot of reference. So I've pulled up some old commercials for this instance because nobody records commercials on like decent quality VHS tapes. Like nobody's going to care about the quality. So we're going to get some nice crispy effects in here. So if we look at this one, you can see we've got a lot of snap cracklies all over the place. I'm just going to kind of skip around. We can see a lot of other stuff. The colors are really desaturated. Everything's, you know, not the highest quality. Surprisingly, this video is actually very decent quality. So let's jump to this one. This one's reminding me that I'm running out of weed and I need to get some more. Over here on the side, we've got this weird color banding here, and you can see there's a lot of noise all throughout the picture. We've also got a lot of kind of banding all over the place and a lot of skipping around in the video, but I'm not going to touch on that in this video. Additionally, when I like to make effects, I also kind of take a look at what other people have done. So, let's look at what this person's done, and they say the best parts of art is stealing. So let's steal from this person. You can see again what I was mentioning before, that like vertical line on the side. We've got some like banding here, and down at the bottom we've got this nice, I don't know what you would call that, like a, I don't know, data distortion stuff. So let's just jump right back into the compositor. I have two monitors and I like to work on two monitors, so I'm going to try to condense my workflow into a single one. So I'm going to create a new window here. Also, sorry that I'm going so fast. I really want to get this finished. Over here, I like to have a image editor, and I'm going to set this to the viewer node so we can see what's going on. And then over here, I like to set it to a texture node editor. Click on brush, and now we can start creating new textures. So we're going to need a few different textures. Let's start with those funky horizontal lines that were going all over the place. So let's give some informational name, horizontal lines. Great. Click use nodes. And then let's delete this checker pattern. All right, come back into the compositor. We can ignore this for now. Put in a texture node. And then we're going to select our horizontal lines and view that. If you have the Node Wrangler add-on, which you should, what are you doing if you don't? Hit Control-Shift and double-click this so we can get the color output straight to the viewer. And now if we switch back over here, we can see the output of this texture in here. So to get those horizontal lines, we're going to do something crazy and add in a cloud texture. Put the color in here, and now we can see we've got a nice cloud texture. And then that doesn't look like horizontal lines to me. I don't know about you, so we're going to add in a scale texture, and we're going to scale it on the x-axis by 0. And now we've got some fantastic little linies. All right. Let's go ahead and add in a color ramp because we don't want all of this detail. We just want lines every so often. And if I can click the black, let's just drag this in. And you can see we're starting to get some nice white lines. Boop, boop, boop. Just drag it in until we've got some nice, pristine little linies. In my original effect, I did some more refinement. I did a math node after this so I can increase the intensity, but I don't have time. All right, come in here. We are going to add in a transform node. Actually, no, we are not. We're going to do it right in the offset. So we're going to go ahead and keyframe the offset on the first frame. You don't have to do it on the first frame, but I like to. Then we're going to select this node. Under summary, we're going to go to the Y default value, and we're actually going to switch this dope sheet to graph editor. All right, with the Y default value selected, we're going to hit N so we can get the properties panel or whatever the fuck that's called. Go into modifiers, add a modifier and a generator. Now if we switch back over to here, I can't see it in there. My computer is too slow to preview this, so we're just going to have to click through that. Those lines are a bit too thick in some spots, so let's select a frame where we've got particularly thick lines. Come back in here, and let's just crank this back down until we've got nice thin lines. We want them thin. We want these really sporadically, so it doesn't matter that we're cutting out a lot of those lines, you know? So, I'm going to click on this viewer node and shrink this down so we can see it better in the compositor. Boop, boop, boop. All right, we've got that. Cool, so we've got those vertical lines going. Wicked. We're going to go back to the first frame. We're going to add in another texture node, and then come back into our second window, X out of this, and now I want that vertical line. So we're going to name this vertical line. Click Use Nodes, and for this one, we want a similar thing, but I don't want the same thing. So I'm going to actually add a wood texture. Plug that into there, and now we can come back here, select vertical line, preview that. And that doesn't look like a vertical line to me, but it's going to be fine. We are going to, I forget what that node called, it's called rotate. For some reason there are different nodes in the texture node editor, the compositor, and in the shader node editor, which is annoying. And also this rotate node makes no sense to me. How the fuck do these turns work? What the fuck is a turn? But anyway, we want to give it 1.25 turns. Those are nice and vertical. Now we are going to add in a scale node on both the X and Y. Let's give it a lot of nice good scale. That's great. And then actually I lied. We're going to increase the scale even more on the Y, and on the turbulence we're going to turn that down to, like, I think 1 is good. Yeah, great. All right. We want a translate node. We're going to scooch this over on the X. Wrong way. Though I guess we could have done that way, whatever your heart's feeling, and we want it right up to the edge. Perfect. Okay, and then we want a color ramp. We want to just scrunch that down, and we're actually going to switch sides on the X and Y. What you could do is switch those colors, but fuck that. So just crunch it down, crunch, crunch, crunch until it's nice and thin. And actually, I'm running out of resolution there. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a math node, plug that into the first value, change that to multiply, and give us a crazy bonkers number like 100. Wow, yeah, we got some nice, thin, crispy lines. And actually, I'm going to scale it up on the Y a lot more, like a 20. Yeah, that's looking cool. Okay, that's the basics of that. Other things you can do is you can apply a step we're going to get in closer to the end of this video, where we can get some like fun warpy shenanigans going there. But I don't want to do that. So again, we are going to keyframe the offset, and you know what, we're going to go crazy. We're going to keyframe the scale too. And on the Y scale, I'm going to add a modifier, and we're going to add a noise modifier, and we're going to increase that strength to a crazy bonkers number. And already we got some fun little jitteries. Go back to 1, and on the Y default value, we are going to add another generator. And that's going to give us some really cool, like, fast motion wibblies. But I'm going to turn that down to something really low. You know, on my original version, I had that really high, but in hindsight, I don't know if I'm really a fan, and I've just never gotten around to changing it. All right, now time to, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to our other window. And so over here, we're going to cheat a little bit. We are going to change this to mask, and we're going to create a new mask that we're going to call vertical line fuckery, or something very informative. Go ahead and add a square. Boop, scale that right up. Perfect, gorgeous. And now over here, we're going to add in a mask node and vertical line fuckery. Select a mix, plug that in there. As the factor, we're going to set the mask and then change this to black. So now we've just got that vertical line. Quick and dirty and easy and nice. And now we want another mix node. We're going to plug that in right there, plug our other one in there, and select add. And why? Oh, it's because I don't actually have any bars present right there. But trust me, once we have some bars showing up there, they'll show up here. All right, we mentioned some crackly popples going on in the other one, so I'm going to add another texture node. Come back here, exit this, add that, whoops, crackle pops, click use nodes, delete this checker texture again, come back in here, and we are going to preview that and actually set it to the crackle pops. And in here, we're going to add in a Voronoi texture, plug that in there. All right, that doesn't look very crackly popply, and I don't like having that mask there, so we're going to change that back to view. I want this to be Minkowski, so we get those nice. Show me the crackly popples. What the fuck? I don't know why it's not crackly poplin. I should have some crackle pops, but whatever. We are just going to continue going. I'm sure I'm missing something really dumb right there. We're just going to, again, switch these colors. Crank that right down. You know, that might be a cool effect, even if we can't get those crackles, but I like the crackles. I swear to God, this just works usually. What am I doing wrong? I am losing my mind, so we're just going to have some round crackles. Again, I'm running out of some resolution, so we're going to go ahead and add in a math node. Go to multiply, give it a crazy bonkers amount. Just really want some intensity, and now we've got a lot more resolution to work with, so we can pull this out. I went a little bit too insane. Oh God, what is happening with my life today? There we go. 10 seems like a solid number, apparently. Let's crank that down. Crank, crank, crank. All right, those are some good crackle pops. We're going to call that good. And again, we are going to go to the first frame, just keyframe that. And, you know, when you're doing this and you're adding your generators and your noises, you know, change it to values you think are good. I'm just kind of adding these because I want them. So then we're just going to duplicate this add and plug this right in here. And let's take a look at how this is looking. So I'm going to change my output to, let's go to here, pick the folder I had my old video in, and test, whatever. Ignore the fact that I misspelled cache in my last one. That's fine. And then let's figure out about a second of this footage. See how that's looking. We can switch back to our viewer and just see what it's looking like. You know, we only have 10 seconds of footage, 10 frames rather, but that's fine. It's fine, whatever. Let's go to view animation And now we can see we've got some nice fun crackly pops. Again, these values are crazy bonkers and this looks like shit. So yeah, when you're creating this yourself, just pick some values you like. Also, I promise, I swear to God that there are some vertical lineys. We just haven't encountered any with our very limited sample size. Also, I don't like how many crackle pops there are, so to fix that, you can just crank down that color ramp. Also, one little tricksy you can do is play around with the C offset. You know, add some noise or cycles or a generator to that, and it's going to give you like a real fun time. I promise. Pinky, double pinky promise. All right, we've got our three main things. Now I want that like little digitally noisy stuff down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in here. We're going to create a new thing. We're going to name this digital fuckery. Cool. Misspelled that entire word, but that's fine. I'm going to add in a noise. Preview that. And then add in a texture. Find the digital noise. Cool. And actually, you know what? This is all that we need. We're going to add in a scale texture and just, whoops, select both of those. If it'll let me select both of those and just give it a crazy bonkers number. And you can see that we've got this fun little digitally stuff. Maybe not that crazy bonkers. Not that crazy either. There we go. That's some fun little crazy distortion. Now let's come back over here, change that back to the mask view, add in another thing, digital distortion, and cool. Go ahead and add in a square mask, scale that right up. And the great thing about this noise texture is we don't even have to do any keyframing. It's gonna fuck with itself. Yeah, right there. Cool. And then we've got some fun little distortion down at the bottom. Again, this is, I don't know why I feel the need to reiterate this so frequently, but I do for some reason. This is not how to completely replicate that original effect. This is just a jumping off spot. So it is going to look different from what I had initially. Whoops, one thing I forgot to do is instead of just plugging that straight into the ad, we've got to add in a mask texture. Select the right one. One little trick I do want to get into, first of all, pick the right mask, is if you have the Animal, ANIMALL add-on added, you can actually keyframe this mask, and it's really helpful and it's really handy. And you can really like scale it and add some noise to the mask itself. We're not going to get into that. Yeah. Because I need to go to bed. We're just going to duplicate this mix shader that we used for the mask on the horizontal line, added it over here. Boop, boop. Except I got it wrong. We want that as the factor, not plugged into that. And cool, we've got that little digital distortion shit at the bottom. All right. So we've got all this. It's a messy spaghetti mess. So let's just group that in all together. And then we've got the basic of our VHS distortion. Okay, some other stuff. I want to separate the RGB. So on a lot of those videos we've seen, it is kind of a blurry, like color banded mess. So we're going to separate the RGB and then we are going to combine the RGB right back together. Connect all of those right back up. And then we're going to add in a translate node. One thing I like to do that bit weird, I like to add in a math node. Actually, you know what? Gonna do some experimentation. Oh man, I could have been doing this the whole time and it would have been so much better. I like to take a value node, plug that into the X and the Y, and then we're going to duplicate this translate. And now we're going to take this value, add in a math node, change this to multiplication, and set this to -1, and plug this value into this first value. And what this is going to do is it's going to let us have a set specific color banding distance. In theory, why don't I have any color banding? Oh, it's because I'm not previewing the right thing like a dumbass. Okay, so if we preview the right thing, we can see we've gotten some nice color separation. And now we can just control one number, and it's just going to control both of those. I like to set it to a nice good 2. I don't like how blurry that is, but I don't have time to go into how to fix that, so that's on you, dudes. Okay, we have the basic overlay finished. Again, you know, stated this a billion fucking times already, but this is just a quick video, quick jumping off plot. So yeah, this doesn't look that great, but you can figure it out yourselves. I'm sorry. Give me a few days past the point I release this and I'll release the original blend file. I've just got to get some of my files out of that. Because it's kind of a messy blend file I'm using for an overall big project that I'm working on. So I have a lot of embarrassing video of me dressed like this. Okay. Yes, let's come back in here. Actually, no, I lied. We are finished with the overlay. So what we can do is get a mix shader in, plug this into one of those fuckers, add the image in here and change this to add, and then we can preview that. And cool. We can kind of see the outline, the bounds of where our video is going to be. All right, now time to do some color fuckery with our video itself. VHS is desaturated, so I like to add in a hue saturation value node, change the saturation to like a 0.9, or, you know, really we can be as stylistic as we want. Also, if you or me working on a project, you should also, like, you know, set up your backdrop a little bit better and also move this around, but I'm not going to. You should know this by now. I also want to, let's come down here and duplicate this whole entire setup. Just plonk it right there. Plug this into the image, and I'm going to set this value to 1 because I want to split the colors on here, but not as much. Boop. And now we can see we've got some fun coloring. Yeah, cool. Okay, now there's some wibble wobbles in the footage, if you remember from a lot of the reference videos we were looking at. So let's scooch this over here so we've got some more room. And now, actually not in here. Actually, yes, in here. We want another texture, another one crazy. Come over here. Close this out. And I want another wave texture. But I'm going to name this Wibbles. Use nodes, delete the checker, add in a wave. Excuse me, a clouds texture. What am I saying? Plug that in here, and then let's come back in here so we can preview it. Why can't I? Oh, it helps to pick the right thing. There we go. So I actually want this stretched out a little bit, so we're going to add in a scale. Scale the X by like 0.5. There we go, I think that's perfect. Now we want a color ramp, and I want to kind of crunch this together. Not a whole lot, but just enough so that we've got some we've got a good middle point, but we've also got some distinct areas that are just white and some distinct areas that are just black. I'm gonna crunch it maybe even a little bit more. All right. So then we are going to do something crazy bonkers. We're gonna put a mix here, and we're actually going to plug that into both ends. Whoa, crazy. Then we're going to plug our wibble texture into the factor, and let's go ahead and preview this. But now we're going to make it less crazy. We're going to take a translate node and plug it in there. And I'm going to set this to something like 2. Just so everywhere that it's white, it translates over. I'm going to give it some more, like a 5. And everywhere that it's black, it's going to keep straight, or I might have that backwards, but you know what I mean. And now, can you guess what we're going to do? We are going to keyframe the offset, select this node, select the Y default value. Honestly, you can select any of these values. Add in the modifier, add in a noise texture. Or you could do a generator, or you could do cycles, or you can just add any kind of procedural animation to it. Now if we scroll through the timeline a little bit and let my shitty computer update, you can see we've got some nice good wibblies. All right. Last thing we need for a good, like, fucked up VHS distortion test is we need one more texture. Holy cannoli. I'm not going to get into how to make really great noise because, you know, I've never figured out how to make really great noise. What I did is about a year ago, I saw this fantastic tutorial that I'm going to link in the description of this video. And ever since then, I've just duplicated his method entirely, never deviating from it. But I'm going to show you a just real fast condensed version. So we're going to create a noise, add in, wow, what would you guess we're going to add in? We're going to add in a noise texture. Add it in there, boop, select noise, and we're going to add in a mix shader. Plug this into here, plug this into here, and for mix, we are going to select overlay, 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 overlay. Now if we preview this, you can see I got it backwards and it looks demonic. So let's switch it back and let's change this factor down quite a bit. Maybe I had it right. I had it right. But why does this look... There we go. Okay. Set this to something like 0.5. But don't do it this way. Follow the tutorial I linked, because that's so much better, and his video is really cool, and I like it. Now we can plug this into the composite, and you can do a lot of refining, and you can make it look really cool. And I hope you liked this, and I'm sorry that it's not the exact process of how I did it. But again, it is now 1 in the morning, and I have work in 4 hours, but I still can't sleep, and I needed to get this finished. And I need to finish the project I'm working on. And this was a little distraction. So thanks for joining me. You know the fundamentals of what I did. And hopefully if I remember, I'll link the original blend file. So yeah, that's it. Bye.